Okay, good morning. Here we go. Let's fix this, zoom it out a little bit. Hopefully the sound is working well on here. So this is 1.10 evaluating expressions. All right, so what is an algebraic expression? It's an expression that contains one or more variables. That's kind of what makes algebra algebra, is when we pull in the letters. To evaluate, that means you're going to substitute the variables with their given values. That means plug in numbers for letters. That's the fancy way of saying you're going to plug in the numbers for the letters. Then follow the order of operations, or GEMDAS. Okay, so here we go. So let's work a couple of problems here. All right, starting with number 1. I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to plug them in. So I'm going to take this 5 and I'm going to plug it in where that X is. Now remember, when they're right next door to each other, that means multiplication. So that means I'm going to be doing 7 times 5. Use the parentheses to show multiplication. Use parentheses to show multiplication. Okay, so then I'm going to have the -3 plugged in for y, plus 4 times -3. And now I follow order of operations. So I'm going to do 7 times 5, which is 35, plus, and at the same time I can do 4 times -3, which is going to give me a -12. And now I follow my integer rules. Follow integer rules. So these are doing battle because they're different signs. So I'm actually subtracting. So I'm doing 35 minus 12, which is 3. 1, 2. The positives are winning. So my answer is 23. Okay, next problem we're going to work. Let's do number 3. Again, I've only got one letter here, so I'm going to take the -2 and I'm plugging it in for the M. Now, a big thing to remember here is when you plug it in, put it in the parentheses. When plug in, put number in parentheses. So I'm going to have 4 parentheses -2 squared plus 5 parentheses -2. This is where it's very important, because if I don't put this in parentheses, then you may work it incorrectly with the exponents. You have to pay attention to that. All right, so now I do order of operations. According to order of operations, I first look for grouping symbols. Well, I've got parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parentheses to do. It's just the number. There's no operation. So now I move on to exponents. And I have an exponent. So I'm doing this portion here. So I'm going to have 4 times -2 squared is a +4, because that's -2 times -2. So it gives me a +4 plus. And at the same time, I can do this multiplication because it is separated by the plus. You do not have to, but you can. And we have -10. And now we continue to simplify. 4 times 4 is 16 plus -10. And now we get our final answer. This is doing battle. Positives are winning, so my answer is 6. Okay. Moving right along, we're going to kind of jump around here. Okay, we're going to do number 6, and I'm using this one because I've got the absolute value symbols. Okay, so again, I'm going and plugging in my numbers first. It's the first step of everything. So I'm going to have 2 absolute value, -5. Since it's in the absolute value symbols, I don't have to write the parentheses. It's already got something kind of grouping it together. -3 times, now this is where, remember, everything's next door to each other, no symbol in between, that means multiplication. So now I am putting the parentheses because that shows multiplication. 3 times -5 times 4. And now we follow order of operations. So my first steps here are I'm going to do the absolute value of -5, and I'm going to also do this multiplication. Okay, you don't have to, but you can. Maybe it'd be best for this one if I actually wait. So I'm going to just do this absolute value. So now I have 2 times the absolute value of -5 is 5, and then I bring everything else down. All right, so now I'm doing order of operations. Multiplying these two together, multiplying these two together, because I can only multiply 2 things together at a time. So I have 2 times 5 is 10. This is a -3, because this becomes plus a negative. -3 times a -5 becomes a +15 times 4. And now we do this multiplication. So I have 10 plus 60. Which gives me a final answer of 70. Moving on to the next page, or the back of this first page. Number 10, I chose this one because of the square root symbol. So first things first, plug in our numbers, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to have 3 parentheses 10 minus 14. And then we have the minus on the outside. 10 squared plus 10 times 14. There's a lot going on this problem. All right, so here we go. When I'm doing this square root symbol is a grouping symbol, so I'm going to do what's underneath here first, okay? So I'm going to do this. I can also do this 10 squared at the same time because it's separated by subtraction or addition, so therefore I can do all of these 3 underlined steps at that first time. So I'm going to now have square root of 30 minus 14 minus 100 plus 140. Now I'm going to subtract what's underneath the square root symbol, and I end up with the square root of 16 minus 100. Well, actually, yeah, minus 100 plus 140. Take the square root of 16, which is 4 minus 100 plus 140. Notice I'm not able to do anything else here because this is addition and subtraction. That's the last thing I'm supposed to be doing. All right, so now I'm going to do 4 minus 100, which means I'm actually going to be doing 100 minus 4 and just the negative win. So this is going to be a negative 96, because you've got to borrow. Okay, plus 140. Again, they're doing battle, so I'm actually subtracting. So I'm doing 140 minus 96, and the positives are winning here, so I can't do 0. So this is going to become a 3. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 13 minus 9 is 4. So we end up with an answer of 44. Okay, 2 more, guys. I'm just trying to show with different types of problems here. Okay, so looking at 14. Plugging them in, here we go. So I've got 7 squared times 2 squared minus 22 all over 7 squared minus, open parentheses, 2 cubed minus 5, and you can actually put this in parentheses, times 7. So I'm going to use brackets instead of double parentheses. That way it's easier to see what's going on because I can make that change. It's just grouping symbols. All right, so now we simplify. I'm going to do the 7 squared, the 2 squared, because remember I have to do everything in the top and then everything in the bottom before I can do that division. That fraction bar is like a grouping symbol. I'm going to do this 7 squared, the 2 to the third, and this 5 times 7. I'm going to do all of those at the same time. So I'm now going to have 7 squared is 49 times 4 minus 22 all over 49 minus 2 to the third power is 8 minus 35, close parentheses. Now, I'm going to do the 49 times 4. And the, oh, this is a, wait a minute, whoa. Oh, I wrote something wrong. This is a plus 5r, so this is a plus 5 times 7. And this is a plus 35. Be careful with that, because if I can make this mistake, so can you. Got to be careful how you carry your information down. So, and I can also do this 8 plus 35. All right, so 49 times 4. I'm going to do that math over here. And when I do that, we end up with 196 minus 22 all over 49 minus 43 equals. So now I'm doing this subtraction. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do 196 minus 22. So that's 4, 7. So 174 over 49 minus 43 is 6. So now I'm going to actually do that division. 6 into 174 twice. That's 12, 5, 4, 9. So my answer here is 29. Whew, there's a lot of thinking into that one. All right. Last one, 15. All right, here we go. We're plugging and chugging. Yes, I chose this one because it has the fraction in here. So we have 3/4 times 2/9 minus 1/6 times -4. Put this like this so that if I need to, I can make it into the fraction, which I did. Here we go. It's the wrong color, Kimberly. I'm trying to stay with my color schemes here. All right. So now I can see if I can cross cancel when I multiply, because I'm going to multiply this first and this. So 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 4 twice, 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 9 3 times. So now I'm doing 1 times 1, which gives me 1, 2 times 3, which gives me 6, minus, now I can multiply straight across, and I get -4 over 6. Very nicely worked out to where I have, oh, I've got a double negative right there. When we've got the double negative, remember, that becomes a big plus. So now I'm just adding. I've got like denominators, so I'm just adding my numerators. So I've got my answer of 5/6. Oh, look, those fractions all scared me, but it ended up being a very simple problem. All right, your assignment is to finish these notes problems. And if time allows, we'll do the classwork as well, or I'll assign some of the classwork problems. Have a great day.